When reading Shakespeare, there was a few things that I found helpful. First of all, annotating really helps because as you're reading, you can write anything that you find interesting, any paraphrases, metaphors. If you just want to summarize it so you don't have to go back and read the whole thing, you can just put a little post-it and leave it there. Second of all, another thing that really helped for me was No Fear Shakespeare. Now, you can't only rely on No Fear Shakespeare because then you don't get to get Shakespeare's style, his iambic pentameter, and it's not just the same feel. So, only if you don't know exactly what Shakespeare is saying. No Fear Shakespeare is a great website that will translate it for you to modern English because it's hard to understand Elizabethan English. The third thing that would work for me was close reading. Now, you can't always close read because it's a long story and you don't have all the time, maybe, if you're in class. So, but when you do have the time, especially for important soliloquies or monologues, it's very helpful to close read and pay close attention to what he is really saying. As you're close reading, it's also good to annotate as you analyze each separate part. What didn't work for me while reading Hamlet was just reading it once, because sometimes I would get an assignment to read a certain amount of pages, and I only wanted to get the homework done, so I would read through it once. If I thought I got the general idea, I would just move on. But that's not a very good thing to do, because with Shakespeare you have to make sure you really understand what he is saying. So if you only read it once saying, oh, I get the general idea, you're wrong, because as you read it, every time that you read it again, you're picking up things that you didn't see, or noticing little details that would be very helpful. So, it's very good to read, especially over monologues and soliloquies, at least twice. There's a few things that make Hamlet hard to make meaning of. First of all, it's in Elizabethan English. Now, we have to translate Elizabethan English to modern English in our mind as we're reading a very complicated work of literature. That was one of the first challenges. The second challenge is it's a whole play, so as we're reading it, we have to imagine what these people are doing as they're saying what they're saying. How are they moving? Where are they putting pauses? Where are they putting emphasis? The last thing is that Hamlet is a very complicated character in general. So even though it's in Elizabethan English and it's a play, Hamlet is one of the most hardest characters to follow. He doesn't even understand himself, and us as AP students are trying to understand him. Now, maybe we shouldn't try to understand him because he's a character that doesn't want to be understood. But still, as AP students, we struggle to want to understand all these characters. In my opinion, and I'm not saying this to make my teacher happy, Hamlet was a great work of literature. And I say this because I have always liked works that are so philosophical and have deep thoughts. Shakespeare expresses so many thoughts that I've had myself and goes into such depth, and it's really interesting to see how he takes it. And still, even though that he has to have these full thoughts, give a very action story that keeps you on your toes, he's doing it all in iambic pentameter with a certain amount of syllables. Sometimes he tries to make rhyme, and I think that's very cool. Someone like Shakespeare could be named cool because I think it's very challenging to do something like this. And I think he did it such creatively using metaphors that we really like, understand, and it's just so well done that Hamlet deserves to be that timeless piece that it is.